Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening, good evening. Brat, you number one girl. All right. Good evening, PG. Much love. God bless. Summer Moon, you told well. Love and prayers for Miss Norway. Prayers for everyone in the chat. Number one girl. All right. And number two, waiter. Right. All right. Um, I think it might be Walter. I'm not sure. But anyway, whatever it is, it says hello, PG. Hello to you. Number two. And number three, Miss Justice 1111. How you doing tonight? Good to see you. Much love, PG. Much love to you, girl. Much love to you. And Janet, how you doing? Good to see you, PG. Much love to you. Number four in here. Good to see everybody coming in. Y'all gotta excuse me tonight. I'm greeting Mama. How you doing, sweetie? Prayers for all the missing children. Prayers for all Summer's Army. Tons of prayers, hugs, friendship, love from Oklahoma. Hey, girl. God bless. God bless. We're sending that love back out there. Amen. Deputy Sheriff. He said, howdy, y'all. Howdy to you. Howdy to you. Good to see you. You don't see folks saying howdy much much anymore, right? That's like a breath of fresh air right there. Deputy Sheriff. It takes me home. Hey, Australia, good to see you. Hey, girlfriend, how you doing? Good to see you in here. Hey, girlfriend, good to see you. Absolutely. Much love to you. Much love to you, Australia. God bless, girl. Let your daughter know PG sending love. Give her a hug from me. Let me get down through here and see who else we got in here tonight. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. Caroline, Janet. Sometimes I have to check the names to make sure. Sometimes we have like two Karens, two of somebody. So I have to make sure I don't miss anyone. Hey, Lady Q, my fragile little mind. Suzanne, there you are. I was looking for you. Wow, Chow, how you doing, sweetie? Amanda, spread love. Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful, Brat. I so appreciate it. I appreciate it. You don't know how much. Hey, Patchwork, how you doing? Karen. Oh, that is beautiful, girl, too. That is amazing. Hey, beautiful PG Mods chat. Good to see you all. Much love to you. Legendary says, hey, it's PG time. All right. Absolutely. Hey, Don, how's it going? Purple Hearts for Summer. God bless, girl. God bless. Anna says, love. Hey, PG and Chad. Hey to you, girl. Forget me not. All right. She's going to make sure she don't get forgotten. She forget me not. Good evening, all. God bless. Good evening to you, sweetie. Just chilling. How you doing? Aw, Suzanne's sending out the love. She's sending out the love tonight to the chat. So is the legendary. Hey, Tropicana, how you doing, sweetie? Hello, beautiful PG. Hello, everyone. Lots of love to all of you. Hey, girl. God bless and much love. Let me see. I'm trying to get to the bottom. I'm trying to get down. Oh, Mara, that is beautiful, girl. Purple Hearts for Summer. Absolutely. Look at the legendary. That is so cute. Girl, that is really cute. Oh, hey, Carrie. I appreciate that, Carrie. I really do. I appreciate it. Love you, PG. You're the best. Hey, girl, I love you guys too. You know it. You know it. Hey, I appreciate the support for Summer's channel. God bless. And I want to thank everybody that contributed to Summer's channel last night as well. I had a lot going on in the back chat and so forth and so on last night, you know, and I was trying to get through the content and I missed letting everybody know how much I appreciated, you know, your support. So for all of you who supported the channel last night, I want to send you out a big hug and a thank you. Absolutely. God bless. Tonight I'll try to keep up with everything. Absolutely. Absolutely, Brant. Thank you for supporting Summer's channel. God bless. Amen. Yes. Anyway, last night we talked about all the stuff where that Candace was involved in, right? This is Candace. This is, you know, we were isolating up. We were isolating up to Can. And all the shenanigans that she seemed to be in before and after Summer went missing. And as you saw, you know, this is Candace. You heard Candace's name. Jody Sue said Candace was down on the road, you know, with this van. Candace came and told me that, you know, the van's down on the road with you know, children for sale, right? And Jody Sue said, what? You know, I'm going to get Andy to try to save this kid. I'm going to call law enforcement about this kid. So you know, you're putting Can right there. Can wasn't calling no police, was she? She wasn't calling no law enforcement. Matter of fact, Can didn't ever even mention anything about a van down on the road where children were being sold out of. She didn't ever even mention. Jody Sue did. Jody Sue brought it out. But Can, oh, she's doing the Donald, right? Shh, don't say nothing. She was doing the Donald. But, you know, she's the one also running around seeming to try to get customers for this van. So what was Can mixed up in? She also was the one, it wasn't Jody Sue meeting up with these people, you know, out of New York City at that storage unit. It was Can meeting up with these people at the storage unit as well, right? So we got Can meeting up with these people at a storage unit, you know, just like 7-8 months before Summer came up missing. She's meeting up with people at the storage unit, you know, that seems to have an overload of people who didn't end up going back to New York. And then Can seems to be down on the road with a van that's supposedly selling children out of it, right? Jody Sue tells about that. And then, you know, then we turn around. I mean, if it wasn't for Jose, we wouldn't have knew about the storage unit. If it wasn't for Jody Sue, we wouldn't know about the van down on the road. But Can's in all of this stuff. She's in all this stuff. And then she turns around and she has her daughter dancing in front of a for sale barrel, right? We have to remember that as well. And Dudley says, you know, after she's dancing in front of this for sale barrel, and Don and Candace is packing her out, you know, passed out, right? Passed out and taking her somewhere. Dudley says, where was they taking her? Even the boys were wanting to know, where are you taking Sissy? Where are you taking Sissy? We ain't ever found out where they was taking Sissy that day, right? None of us, we still don't know. We still don't know where they was taking Sissy. So with that being said, you know, and then we seen, you know, Don and Candace over in Arkansas, right? They're over in Arkansas. And we see that, you know, they're hooked back up with Lisa J, who was at a house, Donnie and Pam Wells' house, at before Don got into Tennessee. Just about, you know, a few years a few years back. You know, um, Lisa J and was hanging around with Don and Pam Wells and Candace, and she had a child at that particular residence who was taken along with a lot of other children because of SA, right? So, and Can Can was there too. Matter of fact, Can Can, the only reason Pam took Can Can is because she was having a baby as well, which, the hospital took. The hospital took because the child, you know, according to Lisa, the child um, was born addicted to illegal substances. So the hospital, Child Protective Services swooped in and they and took the baby away. But Can Can was about to have a baby in there, just like Lisa J, right? And to be taken as well, obviously. So, they was operating, and Can Can was there at that time as well, and probably, very skilled on what was going on there, what kind of type of business they was running. And then they go over into Tennessee, right? And it seems that over in Tennessee, like I said, she's at storage units. She's down on the road with a van, supposedly, got kids for sale. And then she's, putting her own child in front of a for sale burro to dance around. And then, she also, we saw her, back over in Arkansas hanging around with Lisa J, where a mother and 3 children completely disappeared, right? A lot of us were looking for this woman. She'd been there when Candace and Don came. She'd been there long before they came. But for some reason, she wasn't there when they left. Ain't that kind of strange that this woman been there for a long time and all of a sudden she disappears after Don and Candace pull in and start befriending her. I find that very suspicious. And then also we have Don and Candace, we seen them last night in a video on the road, following these little kids, videoing them, right? You could plainly see Candace, the shadow on the ground where Candace is just, videoing the crap out of these kids, right? And really walking towards them until all of these adults, young teens and older adults start coming out into the road. And Don turns off immediately, right? He turns off immediately like, oh, crap. And Candace, being a little more thick-faced and bolder than Don, starts, still trying to go, right? She's still walking a little bit, she didn't get the memo. But she realized Dawn done turned off, and then, she turned off too. But it took a little bit longer for the fear to hit her than it did Donald. And, so we're seeing some, a whole lot of stuff, that involves Can. Like I said, Don turned right off when he saw those people starting to come out, and Can was a little more thick-faced in that. She's going to go right on, and, I think that allows us to understand, how dangerous Can is, right? I think that allowed us to give us some insight on, how bold and evil she truly is by what we saw there. That's my opinion. That's what, I was, my observation of it is, she's worse than Don. She's worse than Don because he could be scared off, but she can't. That's what I felt when it comes to, this type of operation. And that's scary. That's scary because what does that tell us? That tells us that, that's very dangerous because Candace is a woman. She's a woman. And, and see, children will walk off with women where they won't with a man, right? A lot of kids are afraid of men. But, you got to be extra careful in this world today because you got a lot of cans out there too, right? You got a lot of cans who, um, in my opinion, is capable of, I mean, why was they following those children? Why were they following and videoing those children? I mean, were they going to try to show them out? And if somebody wanted one, they was going to possibly go back and get it or try to find one that looks like it, you know? Why would they be doing that? That's my question is why are they doing this? So, but it puts Candace, it let us see Candace and how dark of a place she's in, right? It gives us an ideal of why, it gives us a great idea of why she was carrying everything out that day instead of Don Wells. Yeah, as you've seen, Don turned, he's a coward. Don ran to work, stayed there, hiding with, his phone, Starlink, and all this stuff. Like he said, I got 7 alibis. He's a coward. But Candace, I'm going to tell you, you saw how thick-faced she is. Everybody got to see that. Hey, Molly, good to see you in here, girlfriend. Much love. Yeah, there's Molly. Everybody's looking for you last night, Molly. I'm going to tell you something. Um, Freaking Andrew. Oh my goodness. He was sitting up like this guy was real disappointed, right? He was real disappointed that he couldn't, he wasn't getting nothing last night from the channel because we were covering, Can and all of her BS and all the weird stuff she's been doing before and after Summer came up missing, right? Which, in my opinion, they're into some really weird stuff. That's my opinion. Hey, Australia, appreciate it. Super sticker. All right, girl. I appreciate that. God bless. God bless. Amen. Absolutely hit that thumbs up. God bless. It does help the channel. And if you ain't subscribed, please do. Please do. Andrew is a disappointment. Yes. Yes, he is. He's a very big disappointment. He's an evil human being as well, right? He's an evil human being. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. And, there's a lot of evil human beings in this world. Tons and tons of evil human beings. Trust and believe me. He ain't the only one. He ain't the only one. We're starting to learn from Summer's case, right, that there is an overload of evil human beings, and it seems to be all over the place, right? It seems to be, these people seem to stretch out. They seem to stretch out across the United States, if you ask me. But, Andrew, he's one of them wowsy woo-wooers, right? He's a wowsy. He's like, shoot, I got this stuff for free. Somebody give me this stuff for free. BS. Nobody's going to give you nothing for free. Nobody gives people nothing, especially stuff like this, for nothing. He is so not telling the truth. What he did is when him and Hunter was, overflowing those cash apps, during the time Allison was in the hospital, he was overflowing it into this stuff right here, right? He was wanting to be able to sit at his desk And I don't know. I guess he wanted to be able to sit at his desk and, kind of like stare at Ziggy and stare at PG and who God knows who else he wanted to stare at. Like he wanted to be able to stare at everybody all at one time, right? He's like, like that freaking Halloween movie. I got my eyes on you, right? Yeah, he's got his eyeballs on people, like sitting there staring at everybody. It's like really weird, right? Gotta turn my head to the left, turn my head to the right, turn my head to the left, turn my head to the right. He was sitting there probably doing that stuff, so he could watch everybody. Once in a while, he'd stop and stare right at the regular screen there in front of him. I don't know. It looks kind of junky. That little screen right there, that looks kind of junky. I don't know where he got it from. But it ain't the best. It ain't the best. Matter of fact, it ain't even close to the best. I don't think he knows what the best is, and he must like, he must be like super old school, right? Because they got a screen now that, it has 3 screens in one. It's like it goes in, like a partial circle. You put it on your desk, and it's 3 screens in one. It's just like, beautiful. It's amazing, and you can watch all of these screens, at the same time. And it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice, right? How does PG know? Oh, Andrew, because PG got one. PG got one. And Andrew can't get that kind of stuff. No, he be wanting it, but he can't get it. Right? He be wanting it, but he can't get it. Yeah. But this is his setup. Right there, he got the ghetto going. He's got the ghetto going right there. He has to have a table on the left, a table on the right. He got to have all this stuff, man. Look at that. I think this dude might be using a TV set. Think he might be using TV. Shit. That might be TV sets he's using right there. Think he's using TV sets for freaking monitors. What? Oh, wow. Really? Is that what you're doing, Andrew? You're using TV sets for monitors? Oh, I think you are. I think you are. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Yep. He be using TV sets. What? Damn. Yeah, he might have picked those up on the side of the road. I don't know. He might have picked them up on the side of the road. Yeah. I got to withdraw. My accusations. I guess, wow. I guess the old boy was penny pinching on it. Dang. He probably picked that whole thing up off the side of the road. I don't know. I'd be thinking about it. I don't know. Shoot. I don't know what he'd be sticking that money into then. What the heck did he get? Oh, that's right. He probably didn't get none. Hunter got it all. That's why he was so upset and came crying to PG. Yeah, he was really angry. I guess maybe he didn't get, it wasn't, it was a Hunter's overflowing, not, it was Hunter's cups overflowing, not Andrew's. Yeah. Yeah, look at him. This dude can't, man, you got kind of feel sorry for him. Look at his threads. Damn. Yeah, look at that. He got Spidey web pants. He got spider. That's his Spider-Man shirt and his little Spidey web pants right there. Yeah. I gave him something to talk about tonight, right? I'm gonna give Andrew something to talk about tonight. Oh, looky dear. There's Grandma. Oh. Why do you got big eyeballs, Grandma? Better to see you with. What did you doing with those big ears, Grandfather, to hear you with? Why ain't you got all your teeth, Grandma? You better shut the fuck up. All right? Yeah, yeah. And when you say that to him, here he comes. Here comes Grandma. Hold on. Boom. Dear Grandma, I'm going to get that PG. I'm going to get her. All right. He going to get PG. Looky right there. Yeah. Looks like he's going to get Fred too, right? He's going to get Fred. He's after Fred. And that's why he don't like Ziggy. Because he's after Fred. He's like, Fred, come into my house of candy. Right? Come into my house of candy. I'll show you around. Yeah, there he is. Fred's like, no thanks. Not today. I think I'll stand outside. Right? Ain't nobody gonna go in his house of candy. His house of candy ain't nothing but a bunch of chewed up bubble gum stuck together, right? He done chewed it, built a whole freaking mountain, because he didn't know how to throw any of it in the garbage. He got a freaking house of chewed up bubble gum. Been building it for years. How old is that guy? How old is he? Like, yeah, he'll have a mansion by the time he's old. Keeps chewing that bubble gum and sticking it together. Ain't nobody gonna go in there. That thing smells like his breath. Right? It sure does. Smells like those radiated buckets up there on Andy Bernard's land. You be running away from that. That is gross. That is gross. But anyway, yeah. Look at him.
It happened to.
Boom. Look how he looks.
I believe it.
Boom. All right. That cracked me up. Yeah, that was him. He reminds you of Freddy Krueger. He looked like Freddy Krueger.
Happened to.
Look, he dressing like Freddy Krueger that day. That's some funny stuff. I don't know who he was dressing like this day. It's like, whoa, what the heck is that? Old ducky shirt, socks and sandals. Look at those sandals. Look at his socks. What the heck? I think those socks are either dirty. I think they're dirty. It looks like little bear claws, but I think that's dirt. Yeah. Pretty sure that was dirt, you guys. I don't know. But yeah, that's Andrew. You know, that he was going down the runway showing off all of his different outfits. I was like, whoa. Right? He's like, what's wrong with modeling for the Salvation Army? It's like, dude, that ain't even Salvation Army right there. All right, that's somebody's trash bin. That is some old clothes that somebody threw out from God knows what freaking air, because I don't even know. That looked like some back when, that looks like some back of that stuff back in the Donny Osmond days, or you know, the Jackson 5. You remember those clothes? You know, Soul Train, right? Some Soul Train clothes. I don't even know if Soul Train would have wore that. I don't remember those Spidey pants on Soul Train. I mean, the shirt might have came from there, but that was somebody cleaning out their closet. like, way back in the closet. Yeah, I think he did. I think he went dumpster diving with Can. He must have went dumpster diving with Can. He probably picked that stuff up at the storage unit, right? Ooh, look at this cool shirt and these Spidey pants. They didn't even look like they fit him. They looked like they were a few sizes too big, right? You see how they was all crunched up? Yeah, hold on, I show you. Look, they's all crunched up. Look how they're all crunched up. Like they're too big. And especially in the shirt, look how it's hanging. Look how it's all hanging. It looks like somebody twice his size. And look at these pants. My goodness, they are super crunched up. I mean, he's probably got that belt wrapped around there 3 times. I don't even know who he got them things from, And look at the ducky shirt. Look at the ducky shirt. It's all looking. I mean, it looks like a bigger person should be wearing it. It's all hanging at the neck and freaking. He has to be trying to wrinkle it up to make it look like it fits him. Yeah. And the socks and sandals, I don't even know. Even those sandals, look at the back right there. Because those are like bell-bottom jeans he's wearing. Look at the back. The sandals stick. His feet ain't that damn big. The sandal's sticking way out back there. Yeah, and it's sticking out in the front too. Look, he's got like a freaking couple inches in the front. Who knows how much in the back. This shoes ain't even be fitting him. He got some clothes somewhere from somebody like 2 or 3 times his size. That's what I'm thinking. Wait a minute. That would be Can. Can's like 2 or 3 times his size, right? Probably 3 or 4 times his size. Yeah, she might give him some new clothes to put on when he was down there. And he was sporting them. Those kind of look like her jeans, didn't they? Didn't that look like her jeans? Look, don't that look like her jeans? Yeah, oh boy, we know what she does in her jeans too. Oh man. Yeah. Whoa. He be wearing those. That's too much info. That's a little too much info there. Yeah, right, Brat. I didn't want to say it, but honey, I'm glad you did. Right? That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm going to tell you, old boy, he ain't no fashion model. That's for sure. He ain't no fashion model, you guys. It's like, where the hell did you get those clothes, right? Where did you get those clothes? Yeah, you want to be like, that's one of them times that you really do want to say, what the fuck is that? Right? That's one of the times you really do want to say it. Just saying. Right? Anyway. Enough of Andrew. I gave him enough attention tonight. It should give him something to go on. Right? Since he looked so sad last night that he didn't get nothing to go on. He's got something tonight. Anyway. I wanted to talk about tonight. I wanted to zoom in on all of these suspects. And all of these suspects, being one. And being one in the agreement. They're all one in the agreement of what? Of what? What are they in the agreement of, PG? Well, I'll tell you. They're all in agreement with one thing. And that is Summer is no longer with us, right? All of them is in agreement that Summer's no longer with us. Even Andrew. Right? Even Andrew. You're going to hear Andrew tonight even admit that, and this is early on, that he didn't believe Summer, is with us. They all they're all in agreements to one thing. This little girl is no longer with us, which I believe that too. I believe that too. Why? Because we saw this child on the milk jugs. We heard his son, Hunter, lie through his teeth, and Hunter's mommy, right? Allison lied through her teeth. Oh, that baby was on the milk jugs, just like the picture when I went out to the vehicle. No, that baby wasn't, because your son clearly said to Chris M that little girl was wet on the pillow. She's the only one wet, he says. He was trying to keep his wet self dry, right? The little liar was trying to keep himself dry and put Summers, the only one wet, on a pillow laying against the driver's side door. And when Ronnie Lawson said, why did they wait 4.5 hours to call us? Right there told us that there was no movement in that vehicle through Walgreens, through Sonic's, or at the grocery store of Summer Moon, Utah Wells. They got nothing on surveillance showing any sign of life of this little girl. That's what that comment told us, right? That, that ain't rocket scientist. That's common damn sense right there. If you just listen to people talk, you can figure it out. So if law enforcement, believes that this child, was deceased at that time, then it probably was. And they always, they've always been looking for something under the ground, not on top of it. And I think they're still looking under the ground and not on top of it. That's my opinion. But I'm going to show everybody, just like last night, we solidified how creepy Candace is, right? How creepy she is, how thick-faced she is, how weird she is. We solidified that. We heard witnesses talking about, her being involved with kids for sale in a van. She's meeting up with this weirdo at a storage unit with a ton of people, obviously in the back of a truck. It sounds to me like she was holding the key. Not him. She was holding the key. They're all meeting up there. It seemed like as soon as he made his drop off, he was heading back to New York City. Jose wasn't. Jose had enough, must have had enough of what he's seen coming down there, that he wasn't going back for no more. He decided to go his way. Anything's better than this. I mean, I'm sure it's hard to see. I'm sure that it's hard to see that kind of stuff, You got to be a special kind of person, a special kind of evil human to be able to sit in the back of a big truck, that's trafficking humans. You got to be a special kind of person to be able to sit back there and see the tears in these people's eyes, and them begging and pleading to be turned loose, not to be done like that. You got to be heartless to be able to sit and go through that kind of stuff. You got to be a real special kind of evil to do that. And I think Jose just wasn't that special kind of evil. I think he was evil, but not like that. And that's why, he wasn't going for round 2. He's like, I'm out, I can't handle this, especially little children, right? Especially little children, because you know what's going to happen to them. Like Candace down there on the road with the van, and a little girl supposed to be in there for sale. what's going to happen. You know exactly what's going to happen to this child once one of those weirdos get a hold of it, right? You know. And that's, you got to be a special kind of evil to go along with that shit. But these people are. These people are. That's my opinion. I'll keep it. Because I don't think Andrew, he couldn't tell us no landlord's name, no address, no any damn thing. Right? It just seemed like one big fucking lie as to why he was down there. Didn't sound like he had a stitch of furniture. Sound like he had a big freaking load of humans that was getting shuffled into a mother freaking storage unit, if you ask me. That, from what Allison was saying, it sounded like human trafficking. That's my opinion. Right? Every single one of them are absolutely second to none. Absolutely. You got that right. They ain't worth the fucking salt that goes in their bread, if you ask me. They ain't worth the salt that goes into their bread. Not a damn one of them. I'm going to tell you something. You got to be a special kind of fucking evil. And there's probably a special place in hell for people who abuse and hurt little 5-year-old, 4, 5, 6-year-old children. There is no excuse on the face of this earth for a person to hurt another human being at all. I don't care what age they are. There is no freaking excuse for it. None whatsoever. I don't care. I don't care from birth to 100. You have no rights to hurt another human being. Do you want human beings to hurt you? No. You don't want human beings. If you don't want it done to you, then you shouldn't be doing it, right? You shouldn't be doing it. And I'm going to tell you what goes around comes around, right? What goes around will come around. What you live by, well, I think everybody knows the rest. I'd be damn careful how I be living. I'm going to tell you, these people, you're evil. I don't care who you hurt, you're evil. I don't care who you hurt. I don't care if it's your own kids or if it's somebody else's kids. I don't care if it's teenagers. I don't care if it's young adults. I don't care if it's middle-aged people. And I don't care if it's older people. You are a special kind of evil if you could do that kind of stuff to anyone. You need to check yourself, right? You need to check yourself. Because something definitely wrong with you. And I'm going to tell you, it will come back to haunt you. When you do stuff like that, it will come back to get you. One way or another, it will come back and get you. You think that, you got away with something? Oh, let me tell you, I don't think so. I really don't think so. These people don't understand when they're going out of this world to meet their maker, because everybody does. You know, death is a part of life. And everybody's going to leave this world. They're going to meet their little old maker, right? They're going to meet their maker. And when they do, it's not going to be good for them. I'm going to tell you, I've heard about a lot of cases. I've seen some. I've seen a few. I can't say a lot, but I have seen a few. And I'm going to tell you, you want to talk about scary? There is nothing scarier than seeing an evil person going out of this world. Nothing scarier than seeing an evil person go out of this world. I'm going to tell you right now, when you're laying on that bed, getting ready to go out of this world, well, those evil spirits that you allowed to house yourself up, that you know you wasn't trying to get with God and get rid of, they're going to flee you. They're going to flee you, and they're going to let you go to Hades by yourself. And then when you hit Hades, you're going to be in your right mind, because those demons ain't going with you. Those evil spirits not going with you. So you're not going to be that old evil person that you were all that time, while you were, you know, feeling strong and feeling like, you know, you're on the top of the world and you can do all this evil shit. Well, I'm going to tell you something. The day's going to come when you ain't going to be doing it no more. And those demons or evil spirits are going to flee. And then you are going to realize that there's something there to get you that you didn't want to see. And it's taking you to a place you don't want to go. And then that's when you see the person really start carrying on. And it is frightening, because they're trying to get away from something. They can see it. You can't, but they can see it. And I don't know what it is, but it must be pretty scary. And most of them, that's what they do. That's exactly how it goes. Because why? Well, it's because what they let house them up fled. And all of a sudden they were in their right mind, how they could have been if they'd have just accepted Jesus into their life and got rid of those evil spirits while they still had a chance. But they refused to do that because they like being evil. They like being who they are. And I'm going to tell you, their time came, and whatever it was that got them, whoa, I don't even know, right? I don't even know. But I bet it grabbed them and drug them straight to Hades. And that's when, you know, they look crazy. They look crazy too. You know, like when they're no longer there, you take a look at their faces all twisted and looking crazy. It's like, whoa, yeah, some scary stuff. Some people even get up and try to run. They try to get up and run from whatever it is. They be trying to roll around. You know, they're freaking out. I have no idea what they're seeing, man, but whoa. It's like, you know, you don't even want to be in a room, right? You don't even want to be in a room with it. Like, I got to go. And that's why, you know, that's why you'll see a lot of nurses. That's why you see a lot of nurses come running out of rooms You know, they're not looking really for the doctor or whatever. They're just trying to stay gone long enough. You know, they're just trying to stay gone long enough um, for whatever's in there to get that person and get gone. And they ain't going back by themselves. When they go back to that room, they're taking people with them because they scared. Put a 1 if you've seen that happen. If you've seen nurses come flying out of a room and like they're looking for somebody and they're running around like they just got, you know, got their pants scared off of them. And they're waiting a long time before they go back in this room, and they're taking it and they're making sure other people's with them. Yeah, that's what they're seeing, man. They witnessed that stuff. You know, they don't tell you, but it happens all the time because there's so many evil humans. And that's the truth. So if I was Don, Candace, Andrews, let me tell you, I'd be changing my evil ways. Oh, you better believe evil is real. Evil is real. That's the truth. Even the Bible warns you. It warns you. And it tells you, you know, it tells you right in the Bible, suffer no, you know, no witch to live. That's what it says. Suffer no witch to live. That's what the Bible says. That ain't what PG says. That's what the Bible says. And if God says, you know, suffer not these people, I mean, where do you think he's going to put them? Where do you think they're going to go? Right? I mean, hell wasn't made for nothing. Hell was made for evil people. That's just the way it is. I mean, I ain't trying to scare nobody. I mean, you know, I ain't trying to scare nobody. If they want to be, that's their choice. That's the way I look at it, is it's their choice. They want to be evil, be evil. You know, that's no sweat off my backside. That's their, you know, their problem, right? That's their problem. I gotta worry about PG. I gotta worry about where my backside's gonna go. I be working in the opposite direction, right? I be running towards the Lord. I ain't running away. Yeah, right, Amanda? I'm going to tell you something. I've heard about those things. I ain't ever played with one of those things. I haven't ever touched one. I don't want nothing to do with one of those things. Hell to the no. But I've seen people who did. I've seen people who did, and some real weird stuff. There was this lady I knew. She had some kids, and I used to see her. She would talk to me. She would talk to me quite often when she lived in our community. And she had these kids, and her kids had got one of those things, right? Had gotten one, and she had to completely move out of her house. She said it kept coming back. I guess they would throw it away, and it would keep coming back. And she said it was real, that's the truth. She said when people tell you that, it's true. That it kept coming back. And they had to completely move out of their home, right? And then even after they moved out of their home, they seemed to have a lot of bad stuff. Lots of bad things happen. And, you know, it was quite, quite weird, the stuff that went on. So I don't know. I was also seeing where a young boy, some young kids got a hold of one. They was playing around with it or something. And I guess something followed one of them home. followed him home behind him, and was doing weird stuff. And um, I guess it's hard to get that stuff off of you once it gets on you, right? And which was really freaky. Yeah, I don't mess with that shit. Hell to the no. I don't get around those people that read cards. I don't mess with that. None of that stuff. You keep your weirdo books, and your cards and all that shit away from me. I'd be the first to tell you, man, keep it away from me. You better be putting that stuff in the hands of a preacher and asking them to pray for you. Right? You got that kind of stuff. You better be turning it over to somebody willing to do whatever it takes to get rid of it. I don't know. I don't want it around me. Yeah, that's what I heard, Amanda. That's what I heard. That's freaky weird. The only thing I want attached to me is God Almighty and His Son Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, right? Only thing I want riding around inside PG is the light of Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, keeping my soul clean. Right? I ain't got time for none of that other stuff. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't get into that. Then my girlfriend's daughter bought one at her house. They threw it out, and it'd be on her daughter's. Oh, whoa! They created a portal, and you're going to get the. Yeah, they created a portal. Yeah, they. No, I'm afraid of that. She says she's afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it because I walk with God. I ain't afraid of that stuff. I just don't want nothing to do with it. That stuff's choice, and I choose to stay away from it. I don't mess with anything like that because I love God too much. I love Him too much. I want to please God. I want to do what God wants PG to do. I ain't trying to do none of that weird stuff. That's weird. It's just weird. Wow, really? I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Stephanie. Absolutely not. Chris Watts had one. Whoa. Yeah, look what he did. Right? Look what he did. Yeah. Don't even come close to my house with that shit. Absolutely not. But anyway, I wanted to, come in and solidify um tonight. I think last night we solidified that there was some type of trafficking going on. I think we did, and Candace was all wrapped up in it, right? All wrapped up in it. And probably Grandis and Dom Wells too. I'm not doubting that they wasn't wrapped up in it as well. I'm going to tell you, that Chris Watts house, and that's a pretty house. That is a really pretty house. That was a nice home. That was really a nice home. At the end of the night, somebody remind me. I'll try to remember. I was going to tell you guys about. I read up on the Andy Griffin house. It was a very interesting. It's very interesting. You guys might want to listen to it. I think you can find it on YouTube. The haunting of the Andy Griffin house. Man, I'm going to tell you, it's really weird. You guys should listen to that. These people bought it and stuff. But if I have time at the end of the night, I'll share a little bit of that with you. But yeah, I think that we kind of solidified that, they were into some trafficking stuff there. Sure sounds like it with all the witnesses and all this stuff, and these are different people. These are different people telling us about all this stuff, Lisa J don't know Jody Sue, right? Jody Sue, doesn't know, doesn't know Allison's and their family. I don't know if Jody Sue, she might know Andrew, but we got all these different people talking about this stuff, and and different witnesses about these, these little girls that was on the hill, and and different children being sold out and stuff like that. I mean, I'm pretty sure law enforcement is looking into some type of, trafficking going on. I think that's what they're really trying to hunt down and find is, the key to what was going on up there. And I'm sure they're going to find it. I'm sure they're going to, I mean, I think they got enough data to, to greatly suspect it. They seem to have that day one. They seem to have that on day one. Because even Don Wells said they asked him, did you sell your daughter? Right? Well, they had to have some pretty damn solid stuff to ask someone that question. Because that isn't a general question that's asked when a child goes missing. Right? That is just not a general question that is asked. Matter of fact, very few people get asked that. They get asked a lot of things, but that ain't one of them. So law enforcement must have already had something in the data bank, right? That led them to believe this. What I'm saying is somebody had to report something that they already, had in order to ask that question. That's all I'm saying.
Her kids were 3 and 4 and said, Mommy's there.
Now, she's talking about Rose. She's talking about Rose Bly and stuff that Candace had shared with her. Stuff that Candace said when it came to her sister, Rose Bly. This is what Allison's mother is talking about. I want you to focus on Graham Bun. I want you to focus on Graham Bun. It's what Graham Bun has to say that I want you to hear.
Mommy's there. Why didn't they ever?
Where would that be? Like, where was that at?
Wisconsin or whatever.
In Wisconsin.
Yeah,
That's probably why she's gone from Wisconsin.
Kansas got really drunk one night and said, my sister was supposed to meet someone at a bar, her friend, and she never made it. That's what she said. And
Who would have been responsible for her sister's death, the mom or Candace?
Both, probably. Or Candace, anyway, because I know.
Somehow I can believe that. Somehow I could. I don't know what happened to Rose. I don't know. They said that it was, this sheriff was supposed, according to Wisconsin Mama, she said her son, reported to the police and said that his report had disappeared. That he went in and reported, seeing Rose's car at this man's home and then went inside and they, got an awful smell and they were rolling up some kind of carpet, him and an Indian guy. And they told him that Rose wasn't there, but yet her car was right outside the house. And the next days when she was reported missing. And they didn't find her car for like 5 days. And Candace gave law enforcement the wrong license plate number, according to some witnesses. Candace gave the wrong license plate number, is what I heard. You know, and she also was supposed to be driving past that particular place where her daughter's car was for like, you know, a whole week straight until it was found. You know, you would think she'd know her daughter's car when she's seen it. And if you're driving by, you got a missing child and you're driving by places, you're going to be looking, right? You're going to be looking to see if any of the cars is your kid's car. And, you know, but yet she drove by 5 straight days and didn't take note that hey, that's my daughter's car right there. I don't know. I find that kind of suspicious, right? I find it suspicious. Just saying. But I also find it suspicious that Rose Bly's husband, you know, she had 2 children under the age of 2, and 2 and under. And she also had just barely married him, like 6 months before she went missing. It's like he married her, and in between the 6 months, he files for a divorce, and then he drops the divorce, right? And then she disappears, and right after she disappears, he goes and files for a divorce again, right? So, it's almost like he married her just to get a hold of the kids, right? It's like he married her just to be able to take the kids, just to get a hold of the kids. And, you know, and that's my opinion. Because, you know, like I said, you know, he doesn't even marry her till, you know, after she has these kids. He ain't even married to her 6 months. He's already filed for a divorce, dropped the divorce. Then she disappears, and then he goes in for a divorce again, right? Yeah. I mean, you know, there's some really suspicious shit, and you know, in Rose Bly's case, and you know, Summer's case. It's like there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. Hey, Meg, I appreciate that. I appreciate the support, girl. God bless. Super stick. There we go. I appreciate it. God bless. But yeah, yeah, she did. She gave the wrong. That's what I heard. She gave the wrong information to Ali, and you know, exactly. They don't fall far from the tree, do they? That's, you know, I heard that a lot, and you know. But I am really becoming a believer. I'm really becoming a believer of it now. No, he didn't. I don't think he ever got remarried. I don't think Rose Bly's husband ever got remarried. He got custody of those 2 girls and basically just stayed and raised those 2 girls his whole life, and I don't think he ever got remarried. Matter of fact, it don't seem like, you know, he ever really dated or anything. You know, it's a really weird situation. I don't know what the hell's going on there. I mean, don't you find that really weird that he didn't get remarried? You know, I find it weird that he just married her up. It seemed to get a whole, you know, to get her moved in and with the girls, and then, you know, he immediately filed for divorce and custody of the kids. It's like he was doing all of this just to get a hold of those 2 girls. And I found that really fucking weird and suspicious, if you ask me. You know, kind of creepy, right? Kind of creepy. And she totally disappears, and you know, instead of divorce, she totally came up missing right after he dropped the first divorce, and then he went running to get another one right after she went missing. You're welcome, PG. I'm telling y'all, they were using walkie-talkies on the day they moved her. Low tech is hard to trace. That could be. It could be. Candace did leave her phone on the back of Don's truck up there at the house when she went down to meet Chad. When she went down to Fred's to meet Chad, she left the phone on the back of Don Wells' white truck. So it's very possible that she had something else to communicate with. That's true. You know what? I do believe I remember that. You're right. They said that the boys used to go down there and use walkie-talkies. That you're right. That's true. That's true. I remember that. I remember that. Oh yeah. What happened to Summer? I do believe was planned. Rose Bly. I don't know. I don't know. I know that Rose Bly was living with Grandis. She had her and her children went and tried to move in with Grandis and live with Grandis. And I guess Grandis got really fucking ugly. And, put her out, pretty much put her out. And that's why she went back to that guy. Because, Grandis wasn't the type of mom to open the door and say, come live with me. You don't have to take that crap, get yourself a divorce, and keep yourself safe. You're welcome to stay here as long as you need to, I mean, what? I've got 4 kids. My door would always be open to my children. My doors would always be open to my children. If they moved in and they don't got a job, I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to tell you, I have to pay the bills anyway, right? I got to pay the bills anyway. And what is an extra little bit of food? What is an extra little bit? I mean, even if you're one person and you're cooking, a lot of times there's enough food left over to feed another couple of people. Why do you care about feeding your grandbabies and your daughter? Why would you even care about that? Grandis was not a good human being. She didn't care about anyone. What I'm saying is, Grandis was out for self-gain. If you couldn't give her something or she wasn't getting something out being there, she won't be there. And she don't want you there. She's just like Don and Candace, users and abusers. What can you give us? If you could give us stuff, then, then sure, we'll let you hang around. And that's what she did to her own daughter, Rose. If you want to work and give me monies and put monies, in here, then you can stay. But if you ain't going to, go out and get a job right now and start handing me your money, then you got to go. And, who does that to their daughter? You don't do that to your daughter. But she did. She did it. And, her daughter ended up disappearing. And that's what it is. Hey, girl, good night. God bless. But yeah, that's what happened. Rose's case, there's a whole lot in Rose's case that a lot of people didn't know. Grandis ran around acting like she really gave a damn, but she gave false information, the wrong information to law enforcement. about the license plate number and everything. I'm not sure how much false information there was, but I heard there was, allegedly. And she did have, she did pressure her daughter that was wanting to live with her and stay safe with her. She pressured her back out on the street, where she had to go back to this man. And then she acted like she gave a damn. I think Candace was an attention seeker. I think she's a fucking attention seeker. Always has been, always will be. That's my opinion. Personally, my opinion on that woman is, she's a cold-hearted human being. She's just cold-hearted as hell. And, that's her problem. That's her problem. Thank God it's not nobody else's. But listen to Candace.
Which one?
Graham Bunn. This is Graham Bunn.
The daughter.
Okay.
Do you think CPS should ever put the boys back in that house?
No, not at all. Please, no.
Now, here it comes. Here it comes, you guys.
No. I appreciate your passion because it seems like you know, and you know.
Those kids come here in the summer before summer died. They're
Oh.
filthy and so.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what Graham Bunn said? Listen to her.
Back in that house.
No, not at all. Please, no.
No. I appreciate your passion because it seems like you know, and you know.
Those kids come here in the summer before summer died. They're.
Look at Allison's face. Look at Allison's face. She said before summer died. Look at the way Allison looked at her like, what the F, right? What the F, Grandma? Look at her. Before summer died, she said. Before summer died. Look at Allison's face. Now watch Graham Bunn. Watch Graham Bunn. She knows she fucked up. Watch.
Filthy, and so is the mother. They never cook dinner. They always.
Look. She knows she did. She's like, watch her.
Frozen pizza and whatever.
Look, she knows she messed up. Right? Look at that. Look at look at freaking Allie. Allie's like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Right? Yeah. Allie's face was stunned like when she said it. Allie's face was straight up stunned.
I appreciate your passion because it seems like you know, and you know.
Those kids come here in the summer before summer died. They're.
Look at Allison. Look at Allie. She's like, what did you just say? Right? Look at her. What? Don't say that. Oh my goodness. And she ain't caught up. Graham Bunn hasn't caught up with herself yet because she's carrying on.
Filthy, and so is the mother.
Look at Allison. Allison's just like dumb. She looks dumbfunneled, right? She just like,
They never cook dinner. They always.
Now Graham Bunn realizes. She done screwed up.
Ate frozen pizza.
Look at Allison.
And whatever else.
Oh my gosh. Right? They done knew they messed up big time. And that's why it's good. That's why it's good to, catch people off guard. You catch them off guard, you get a lot more information, right? A lot more information when you just pop in on them and get that information. Yeah. I was like, whoa. Wow. Yeah, she told it, right? She told it, you guys. There you go. Right out of Grandpa's mouth. And she, and she told Allison. She said, and before Summer died, like, Allison knows, right? Like Allison knows. Whoa. Yeah. There you go. No, none of it was scripted. That was on the money right there. And then let's listen to another, some more suspects here.
Do you think that Stacy Slade was actually the fake fat? I think that there's a person that somebody stole her identity. Exactly. Because there's a real woman by that name in that real area that died. And that's how you can call a funeral home. And, see, I had Stacy Slade. I had a name. And there was actually a memorial video up by her family on YouTube. And she died not long before her passed.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Listen to this.
And she died not long before her passed on YouTube. And she died not long before her passed.
There's another one. There's another one right there.
And she died not long before her passed.
There you go. There you go.
So PG said that I've been at Morrison Cemetery. I've not been there not one time since summer has passed.
Did you hear that? There you go. This is Marlena. Marlena.
Whatever happened to her, whether her medicine or whatever's going on with summer.
Listen.
Since summer has passed.
There you go. She screwed up. She messed up.
Since
Listen.
summer has passed. Since summer has passed.
There you go. Marlena. There's Marlena.
Happened to Summer. I believe it's a body hunt right now. What do I think happened to Summer? I believe it's a body hunt right now.
Andrew. There's Andrew.
What do I think happened to Summer? I believe it's a body hunt right now. What do I think happened to Summer? I believe it's a body hunt right now.
Boom. There you go. There you go. There you go, you guys. I'm not done. I'm not done.
There's the type of person, he's good-hearted. Yeah, he has a temper. What 15-year-old don't act like they conquer the world, you know? And see, that's like the night that Allison said that she got the phone call. We was at the football field. My grandson plays football. And he was at his practice. And at 7:29, Hunter called my phone to tell Allison that Summer was gone. And
To tell Allison Summer was gone. Now listen to her. Listen to her come back from that. Watch her come back from that.
I mean, from that time on, it bothered Hunter because he was wondering what happened because she was alive the last time he seen her.
Whoa, she tried. Good save, right? Good save. Called Allison to let her know Summer was gone. Oh, well, he said, then she comes back. She says, he didn't understand because when he saw her last, she was alive, right?
She was the first, when me and her stopped talking, she was stopping by my mom's, talking to the kids, talking to my mom, unexpectedly, you know. And, I didn't think anything of it at that time. I'm like, okay, yeah, Hunter can go fishing. He loves Summer to death. That's like his little sister.
They're budge.
Yep. She's like a daughter to me. And, I didn't hear from him for a while. She dropped Hunter off between 2 and 2:30, right where your truck is.
Okay.
But her front end was facing the telephone pole.
So she's going this direction?
Yes.
Okay.
When she dropped Hunter off, it was her, her mom, Hunter, and Summer. And Summer was leaning against 2 gallons of milk.
Okay.
I said, oh, look at her. You know, I asked her how Summer was, and she was sleeping.
Summer couldn't be leaning against 2 jugs of milk because she was against the driver's side door, wet. The only one wet, remember? The only one wet against the driver's side door. Unconscious, if you ask me. Hunter said Summer was on the pillow against the driver's side door, wet. He was trying to keep himself dry, but we saw him go in the water, so he was wet too. He was wet as well. And there's no way, he said, and you know, she was wet from swimming. So she's laying over there in a bathing suit, wet on the pillow, had not been dressed yet. So there's no way Allison could have seen her all dressed on some milk jugs. She got dressed at Allison's house. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it.
What side of the back seat was she at? Do you remember?
Hunter was on the driver's side, and Summer was right there next. Right there in the
And Hunter clearly said, I was in the middle. I rode with the milk jugs, holding the milk jugs until, because I didn't want them to spill. I didn't want to clean up no mess. And I rode with them all the way to the house. And then I set them beside me. I set them in the middle. And I can't remember how I got out of the car, but I got out of the vehicle, right? I thought Summer got out, he said. He wanted to put Summer outside of the vehicle as well. He said, I thought she got out too. I don't remember. Right? Allison lied. Allison lied.
Okay, so it made sense if she's pulling this way that Hunter's going to get out on this side. Okay, it makes sense. Okay. And so she's on the other side or in the middle?
She's in the middle.
Okay.
Like
against the milk.
And there's no way she could have been in the middle as well because Hunter said she's on the pillow against the driver's side door, wet. He said that they put the boxes, when they picked up Grandma from the doctor's office, they put the boxes that was in the back seat in the trunk, remember? He said there was TVs and boxes and totes and stuff in the trunk. That's what he said. He said they moved those boxes, put them in the trunk so he could get in the passenger side back seat and set his ass down. Those boxes weren't there. They put those boxes back into the vehicle and then propped her up on the milk jugs after they dressed her up in Allison's house and then propped her up. There you go. That's what happened. That's the truth. And they know it. You know, they mother freaking know that's the truth. I don't care what they say. It's exactly what the truth is. I'll, you know, that's my opinion. I'll keep it. But that is the truth.
Gallons of milk.
Yep, against the 2 gallons of milk.
Okay.
And I said, oh, look at her. I said, isn't she hot? Like, so I wish I could wake her up and, you know, give her a hug. No, you can't.
When the windows were
And the windows were up.
What did Hunter say? Because he was sitting next to her.
Hunter said she was alive.
Okay.
That they were watching TikTok videos.
Oh, interesting.
Wait a minute, when they went into the store,
Yep, because Hunter has a timeline of where they went.
You see Graham Bunn correct her? Did you hear Graham Bunn correct Allison? He said when they went into the store, dummy, don't be saying they were watching TikTok videos out in front of the house, because how could she be on the jugs if they were doing that? He said at the store. You know, Graham Bunn knows. Graham Bunn knows. Just like she told Allie, you know, before Summer died. You know, she knew. She knew. This old lady knew. And she still knows. And she's doing nothing to turn it into law enforcement and let this little girl be found. These people are evil. They're mother freaking evil. How does whole families get that fucking evil? I don't even know.
And what they did. And they had stopped at the store before they dropped Hunter off. That's where the 2 gallons of milk came from.
Okay.
And the groceries.
Okay. Summer's on the other side with the milk.
And did you take note that Allison, let me back it up a little bit. Did you take note that Allison said, and the groceries, as if she's seen them? As if she's seen them. She saw the groceries in the trunk. Allison saw the groceries in the trunk because Allison was out there when they was getting the boxes out and propping Summer up in that vehicle. She had her ass out there because she listened to her.
And what they did. And they had stopped at the store before they dropped Hunter off. That's where the 2 gallons of milk came from.
Okay.
And the groceries.
And the groceries. And the groceries, as if she's seen them. She saw them. There you go. Something we didn't take note of before, but we do now.
Okay. Summer's on the other side with the milk. Hunter gets out. You ask Hunter, or you talk to Candace about wanting to talk to Summer.
Yep.
What happens?
She said no. I wasn't allowed to wake her up.
Okay. So she's sleeping?
To me, she appeared sleeping.
Okay. Did it look like to you she was sleeping?
At the time, yes.
Okay.
But now that I look back on it, I really don't know.
Okay.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Here it is, baby.
To me, she appeared sleeping.
Okay. Did it look like to you she was sleeping?
At the time, yes.
Okay.
But now that I look back on it, I really don't know.
Look like to you she was sleeping?
At the time, yes.
Okay.
But now that I look back on it, I really don't know. Now that I look back on it, I really don't know.
Okay.
But now that I look back on it, I really don't know.
There we go. There we go. She was wanting Chris to understand that Summer wasn't alive. She was it was eating her up. It was eating her up. And she wanted to try to find that loophole that would get her to tell, but get her, not bring her son into it. She was trying to tell, but then Chris did this.
Okay. Fair enough.
And it just kills me. Because, now that I look back on it, it's like, was she really alive?
Whoa. And then Chris said, well, your son was back there with her. And then Allison changed up her stuff, right? Then she changed it up. Then she was like, oh, no, she was alive. She was alive. Once Chris put, Hunter back in the vehicle with Summer. She's like, no, she was alive. She was alive. But see, Allison knew. Allison right there, she wanted to tell that little Summer wasn't alive. It was eating, what happened was eating her up. And it will eat you up. It will eat you up. When you do something that sinister, it will come back to haunt you. You have to you have to live with this shit every single day. You have to live with knowing that you destroyed an innocent or helped cover up an innocent 5-year-old little girl's case. Right? That you had your hands all mother freaking dirty in an innocent 5-year-old's case. You got to meet your maker with them dirty hands. And you think God's going to let you through the pearly gate with them dirty hands and that dirty secret that you decided to keep to cover up someone that's evil enough to destroy a 5-year-old missing child? Should you have covered up for someone evil enough to destroy a 5-year-old missing child? I don't think so. I don't think so. Your job was to tell. Your job was to tell the authorities and do what was righteous for the victim in that case, which was that 5-year-old little girl. No, it's not going to bring her back. It's not going to bring her, but it's going to keep someone else from ending up like her. If they could do it to one child, they could do it in the future to another child. Do you want them doing it to another child? You want that on your back too? You want that on you? Right? You don't cover up for people like this. You just don't cover up for people like this.
I had her crying in tears. I mean, just like in a ball, because for like fucking 5 minutes she wouldn't lay off, and it was Summer's dead body's laying there, and who gives a fuck about it, and this and blah blah, and she's dead. I mean,
there you go. That was Andy Bernard. That was Andy Bernard. That was Andy, right? So we got Andy. We got Allison. We got Hunter's daddy, old Andrew, right? We've got Jody Sue. We've got Graham Bun. We got Marlena Crawford, right? We've got them all. We've got them all. We've got, you know, there's even Fred Hill. Even Fred Hill, you know, didn't believe that Summer was anymore with us. And even Laura. Laura said, you know, before that little girl passed away, remember? She said before that little girl passed away, she called Summer that little girl. She said before that little girl passed away. Even Laura seemed to know that Summer wasn't no longer with us. I think they all did. I think this whole group of evil people knew exactly what happened to Summer. I think they all understood that she, you know, that she had to be destroyed in order to protect everybody's asses. And I think they all worked together to get that done. That's my opinion. There's also some lady that's supposedly Andy Bernard. I guess Andy was dating there or something. And she was supposed to have said something about Andy took her to some grave and told her that he believed Summer was buried there. Put a 1 in the chat if you heard that, because that's the rumor I'm hearing right now. I'm hearing the rumor that Andy Bernard was dating up somebody and supposedly took her to this particular grave and said that he believes Summer was buried there. That's what I'm hearing. Somebody said Piper. Yeah, I definitely heard that. Yeah, I heard it. Yeah. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, you know, well, you know what? I don't remember talking about that. I don't remember talking about that. Because, you know, I think if I would have heard that, I would have remembered. If I, you know, no, I don't think I ever talked about that. But, so, you know, and I thought Andy Bernard left Jody Sue and went straight to getting with this woman he's with now and staying with this woman. I didn't ever remember him, you know, getting with nothing in between all of this. Yeah. I don't ever remember Andy You know, because he seemed to have left the hill, got with this woman he'd already been seeing, and married her up pretty quickly. When would he have had time to get with this Piper person? Because I didn't ever know Andy to be with anyone except the lady he's with now. He had a fling with Piper. I don't know. I didn't ever hear nothing about that. Yeah, I didn't talk about it because I didn't know. I'm just now hearing all of this surface out. I would have done ask Andy. I would have done ask Andy Bernard, what the hell's this Piper lady's, what the hell's this Piper lady's issues with saying that you took her to a gravesite. What gravesite did you take her to? Did you take her to Morrison Cemetery over there? I mean, did this Piper person ever say what particular cemetery it was? Did she ever say what particular grave it was? Or is she just blowing smoke? Is she just blowing smoke? Because I ain't never hear no shit like that, or I would have been all over Andy asking some questions about that. Yeah, that's there was quite a bit of rumors going around. That's true. Quite a bit of rumors, that Cotton supposedly put her up where the waterfalls was. For a while there, we had no idea where they had put Summer, right? We had no idea where they had put her. Even law enforcement, suspected that they had, they were moving her. Wherever she was, they suspected she was being moved. That's what, they was looking, doing a lot of searches, and they seemed to think that she was being moved, so that must have been an informant. There must have been an informant, leading law enforcement to believe this in order for them to believe it. But you got to go down a lot of different alleys before you land on the truth, right? Before you land on the whole truth. And oh yeah, absolutely, I'd have been all over it. I would have done question Andy up and down over this one. I would have really laid it on him to talk about it, if I had heard it before this. Absolutely. I didn't ever hear about no Piper affair and some grave she supposedly went to with him and all of this BS. Now I hear she's saying that he took, but what place did? If somebody took me somewhere, I'm going to remember where it is. That ain't something I'm going to forget. I'm going to know exactly what mother freaking cemetery it is. I'm going to remember looking down and seeing exactly whose name is on the tombstone. How come that Piper can't give more information than just, oh, it was a graveyard? What was it? Was it in the middle of the night? Was it in the dark? She couldn't see nothing. Did he blindfold her when they got there and said, hey, here it is. Let me put blindfold on you and take you back? I mean, I don't hardly believe that story because there's not enough detail. There's not enough detail in it for me. Just saying. And if I'd have heard about this, I would have definitely questioned Andy's backside up about it. You guys know I would. Hey, you got that right. You got that right, Chris. I'd have been in there. That's the truth. Like the freaking YT on rice, right? Absolutely. Maybe, yeah, maybe. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't, wow. How hard up are you to let Andy Bernard use and abuse you? Right? How hard up would you be to, to fling with him? Man, I tell you what, he can fling. I'm gone. That's like hell to the no. No way. Do you see him lift his shirt up? Oh my goodness. No thanks. And I think he was wearing a thong. Right? I think he might have took some of Jody Sue's old undies or something. I don't know. Cause I ain't never seen no man. I ain't never seen no man with those on. But I seen one on him. That's gross. Oh man. I'm gonna tell you, the thong was hard to look at, but that wasn't the only thing hard to look at. It was like, whoa. Even Ryan, even that Ryan Finds Truth was, you should see the look on his face. The look on his face like, oh my freaking God. Right? Oh boy looked like, he looked like he wanted to back off and run. He was staring like, whoa, what the fuck is that? And that's the truth. I seen his face. I seen his face, y'all. I always observe people's expressions. The face don't lie. Very few people have what they call a poker face, where you can't read their thoughts. Very damn few. I've met very few people in my life that you can't read. And that dude, you can definitely read when he saw that. When he looked over and seen Andy with that shirt up, he's like, whoa. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. Anna. I'm going to tell you right now, girl, I don't know. I love your name. I think your name is so beautiful. I like the name Anna. That is a beautiful name. Right? I miss Benny. Benny, Benny had a way. I mean, he could give it and he could take it, right? He could give and he could take. And that's hard to find out here now. That's hard to find out here. All of these people are kind of like, wowsy, wow. And, YouTube ain't as fun as it used to be. It's not as fun as it was when Benny and Doug and all these people were there, right? Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, Lady Q, that's true. When you're reading text, it's not like talking to someone. When you're talking to somebody, you understand everything perfectly. But when you people are texting, you could take some stuff. You could take some stuff wrong, right? You could get things wrong when you're reading text. Yeah, right. I'm gonna tell you. I say to each their own, right? Each their own. I mean, some people, I, I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, I don't, I don't like thongs. I don't like thongs. I don't like. Put it this way, I ain't washing nobody's thong, right? I'm not washing nobody's. I've seen those thongs. Um, throwed in laundry baskets and stuff. At people's houses or at the laundromat, and it's like, oh my god, right? This is nasty. This is nasty. You would not believe how gross that stuff that stuff looks. And it's like, and you know, to each his own. Yeah, Benny was. Benny was real good at this. I gotta admit, he was good at this. Benny was exciting. Benny was exciting. He talked exciting. He's from the hood. Of course he's going to talk. He definitely knew how to put it out there and and work it. Absolutely. You become a professional. You become a professional you know, at knowing a lot of things when you're raised up, in the ghetto. Right? When you raised up like that, you get to know a lot of stuff. Or even working. If you work in the ghetto, you learn real quick. You learn real fast that you need to find your voice. You learn real fast that you need to speak up and and take up for yourself. It's not an easy place to be. You learn all the laws real quick. Um, it could be, you know, it could be a blessing and a curse. On Doug's show. On Doug's show. Hey, I'm going to tell you who did that. Let me show you who did that. That was Marlena. Marlena, listen to this. Listen, she did. She did. Listen to this.
Clear this up too. PG said that I've been at Morrison Cemetery. I've not been there not one time since summer has passed or whatever. And let's just clear this up too. PG said that I've been at Morrison Cemetery. I've not been there not one time since summer has passed or whatever. Whatever happened to her.
Did you hear it? Right there. Listen. Listen. She did. Listen. Right there. She did it.
Whatever happened to her.
Did you, when I was putting everything together tonight, I was like, did she fart? And I listened. Yeah, she did. Listen to this. She got so caught up. She got so surprised that she said what she said, that she let gas. What?
Whatever happened to her?
All right. She did. She passed gas. I was like, oh my gosh, she did. That was disgusting. That was right there. It is the proof, baby. Yeah. When Pam said that, I was thinking, oh my gosh, that was Marlena did that. She did that. I remember hearing it. And yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. She knew she screwed up. She knew she messed up when she said, that since summer passed, so she knew. And I'm telling you, I really think the summer is in that cemetery. Just saying. Just saying. I really believe she is, there, because all of these people are mentioned in the cemetery. I mean, she's passing gas because she screwed up, right? So, I mean, I hate to say it. I think she did when she realized what she said. It was a real shock and showed, right? It showed. But yeah, I'm telling you. I'm gonna tell you that's just, yeah, she that was funny stuff, man. I don't care what anybody says. But every one of them, you heard every one of them tonight. Every last one of them, agree. All of these suspects, all of these people surrounding Summers' case, all of them that seems to have hands in what happened, every last one of them are, are solid that she's not here, that she's gone. Every last one of them. So, that tells me Summer is not with us. She's not with us. Right out all of their mouths. And even Candace said, Summer always be with me. I hate to say this. I don't want to say it. I need to put Summer aside. My boys are still here and alive. I don't care what anybody says. Summer always be with me. She was admitting that her daughter is no longer here. Don Wells, we'll see her in the resurrection. She got sacrificed for my sins. Even he is putting his daughter in the grave, right? In the grave. So that's just the way it is. Every last one of these people surrounding this poor, innocent little girl's case is putting her in the grave. And if they're all putting her there, then that must be where she's at. And I really do pray and hope that law enforcement finds her. I hope Summer's able to be found, brought home, and justice gets served on her behalf. But I'm going to head out of here for the night, everybody. Please keep those prayers going up. I think we're starting to solidify a lot of this stuff. A lot of things we're able to make it more solid than it was before. We're starting to understand a lot more than we understood before, especially how evil this group of people can be, right? How evil they are. And that is important. That's very important. It's very important for us to understand, yes, they can commit a crime like this. Absolutely, positively. No doubt in our minds, they can do it. Because Summer needs us to be able to understand the truth. She needs us to understand the truth. And I'm telling you, they know what happened. They know what happened and why these evil people, how people can hold such evil secrets, I don't know. You know, like old Grandbun. At her age, I would think she'd want to make it into the pearly gate. I would think she would want to get into heaven. And she ain't got a lot of time to be proven to God that she could. And with, dirty hands and secrets like this, I think Pandora better open the box on this one. Because I don't think she wants to show up at the pearly gates with dirty hands, packing a dirty secret that should have been let out. That's just my opinion. I'm going to keep it. I don't care if that's her grandson or not. She needs to tell the truth for the sake of this 5-year-old innocent little girl. No, it ain't going to bring Summer back. But this old lady might save another little girl in the future. She better think about that, right? That's what we need to think about. Keep the prayers going up for Summer Moon, Utah Wells. I know God is listening. He's always listening. Through his son, Jesus Christ. He's always listening. You don't have to go to church to pray. You can pray anywhere you are. Because God's everywhere. He's everywhere, and so is the Son. And through his Son, he hears everything we pray for, no matter where we are. So wherever you're at, put your hands together, bow your head, and pray to God that this little girl is found soon. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And keep those prayers going up for Sebastian Rogers. Keep them going up for Michael Vaughn. Keep them going up for little Jack and Lily Sullivan. These children still need to be found as well. Let us pray that they're found and justice is served on their behalfs as well. Keep praying for one another too. Family that prays together stays together, and we definitely pray together for one another here. Know that PG is always praying for you. I hope God answers all your prayers. I don't know what you want, what you need, but I know God does. And I really do pray that he answers your prayers. A lot of people needing a lot of things. But if you're praying for anything bad, Andrew, I hope God don't answer your prayers. Right? I know what Andrew's praying for. And I hope God don't answer his. Right? I don't want God to answer no bad prayers, just good ones. That's I gotta clarify that right now. Because I know how that evil Andrew thinks, and a lot of other people. Matter of fact, I had somebody in here last night going mayhem in the back chat. Morbid, right? I'm gonna tell you, that guy right there, he's definitely off his hinges, right? He is off his hinges. That's all I got to say about him. You know, he cracks me up. You know, good thing that I got a good sense of humor. You know, I mean, I could have took that personal, right? I could have took that personal if I wanted to. But yeah, you know, being out here in this YouTube world is very dangerous. It's very dangerous, you guys. So stay safe. Stay safe. Because it is not a good place to be. Make sure that you do everything you can to keep your identity private. And stay safe out here. There's, it's not good. It's not good. But anyhow, oh yeah, I told you on the Andy Griffin, the haunting house of Andy Griffin. You should watch it. I believe it is on YouTube. I'm putting one in the chat if you've ever seen it. I was watching it. It is really good. It is really good. But anyway, they said his home. He had this home, like isolated place. You know, it's supposed to be really, really nice place. But they said that you would hear the whistling, the theme from the Andy Griffin show. And they said you would hear someone whistling that particular tune. And you would hear footsteps. And I guess the people who bought the house moved in, and then they vacated. They vacated. You know, they still, last I checked, they still owned the place or was putting it up for sale. I don't know. I thought they still owned it. But they're afraid to live in it, you know, because of all the really weird stuff, that was going on in there. And I guess, you know, the wife was really playing with it. The husband left and stayed gone. But I guess the wife, you know, she kept going back and kind of playing with it, you know, playing with stuff. And I'm not sure, I can't remember everything, you know, but it seems like something happened. I can't remember what, but it sounded like, you know, I think something happened. Wasn't good because she kept going back, and I guess it really didn't, you know, whatever it is, don't want you there. So, you know, it kind of likes being there alone, I guess. And yeah, so you should go listen to it. Oh really, Lucille Ball's? Oh, I would think that her house would be her like really fun. You know, I love Lucille Ball shows. I've seen some where she's a secretary for some guy, and then there's the other one where she's married to this guy. He's got a real cute accent. Actually, he's a pretty good looking man. And there's another woman, a girlfriend she has or something. Anyway, they live in like some apartment building or something. They are hysterical. I mean, like, that is a really funny show. That's a really funny show. And so I would think, you know, man, I mean, if it's haunted, what do you hear? Lucille Ball cracking up, making jokes and doing stuff. I don't know. I can hardly believe she could haunt anything. Right? I don't think she would make a good ghost, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. I don't think I would make a good one. Right? I don't think I'm not mean enough. I would be a funny ghost. All right? I would be a silly, funny ghost. It wouldn't work out too much. I'd be too much like Casper. Right? Yeah, I'd be squashing grapes. Yeah, I watch all those old movies. I don't like the new stuff. Like, the only thing they do now is remakes. And when they remake the movie, it's like really, it's disgusting, right? It's like, it's disgusting. They take classic movies and they destroy them. They're destroying all the classic movies. You know, that's why they call it a classic, because, you know, you should watch the original. You know, it was a one and done. And they're trying to, you know, and now they just, you know, there's nothing new. There's nothing new. It's just a bunch of BS. And, you know, they make a movie and then it's number 2, number 3, number 4, you know. Nobody wants to see it. We get tired of it. And nothing new's coming out. Nothing, you know, is coming out of Hollywood that's, you know, any good anymore. and no originals, no original movies. That's what I'm saying, and it sucks. But I watch all the classic movies. I go back and they got some real good ones. They got some really good classic movies. Oh yeah, I watch the Waltons too. I watch the Waltons. I watch the Lucille Ball. I watch Little House on the Prairie. I watch that Little House on the Prairie show. It's really good. Me and my daughter watch a lot of old movies and stuff, and we get into a lot of history. She wanted to watch the Brian Kohlberger thing with me, and I was surprised because she seemed to know more about his case than me. I was like, when was you getting into this? Right? Um, you know, but she was really into that Brian Kohlberger's case. And, I was shocked. I was shocked to see that. But yeah, I got to keep an eye on her. I got to keep an eye on her. Um, I watched it. I watched it do some app or something, that my sister had. That's how I seen it. My sister, had whatever it's on. My sister had it, and I watched it. Through that. She had watched it previous to me, so but I wanted to see it, so I watched it through whatever she had. So I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I'll ask what it was, but yeah, it was through some app she had, and that was the four. But on YouTube, they have. I was watching last night on YouTube. There was a way more information about what happened inside of the house that I was watching on YouTube last night. And it was it was some kind of news lady. I can't remember her name, but it was a news lady that was actually talking to one of the parents. And oh my gosh, because even in all four of the things that I watched, I did not get the details to what went on inside that house as I did last night. Watching, I think it's like 40 minutes. It's like 40 minutes of this woman talking with one of the parents. And oh my goodness, what he did, like the horrible things that he done to them, to the victims. They were talking about it. You wouldn't believe it. You would not believe it. They said that the one girl, that was, the two girls were in the room. The one girl spent the night because, she was just there to show her vehicle. And she was actually supposed to not be there. She's supposed to be gone. But she decided to stay with her friend. Her and this other girl was friends since they were real little. And they were like besties and inseparable. And so she stayed with her. She spent the night with her. But they said that they're not sure. The coroner wasn't sure, what really took her out of this world, because they said she had blows to the face, so bad. I mean, he gave her blows to the face so hard and so bad that they think that she wouldn't have made it just from that alone. And that may have been, they're not even sure if everything else he did was what, caused her to pass away. but I guess he really brutally, you know, attacked her, something fierce, before, you know, before all the other stuff went down. It was, and I'm shocked that no one in that house could hear all of that. You know, I'm super shocked. How do you walk in a place and take 4 people out that viciously, and there's 2 other people there that don't hear a thing? I mean, put a 1 in the chat if you don't think that makes sense. I'm like, make that make sense to me. I don't know. How did 8 hours, how did 8 hours go by before law enforcement got called? And the one girl that ran down to sleep with the other girl, she saw one of the victims laying on the floor. When she came out, she seen one of the victims right there on the floor. The door was wide open. The victim's laying there. How did you not call 911 and get help? I'm going to tell you, I think there's some BS somewhere in all of that. I mean, just, that's my opinion. I'll keep it. But it sure seems like there's some BS in that. Something ain't right in all of that. Just saying. I mean, I don't think anybody could be that stupid. That's my opinion. Right? I don't know. Yeah. You guys should see, you know, watch that particular news, that particular little news clip on YouTube, because it is, you know, it is so informing about what really took place inside of there. Like I said, I watched all four of the segments that they had, you know, and it did not give me as much detail as just watching that 40-minute little clip. You want to really know what went on inside that place? Watch that one. And that's on YouTube. Yeah, you can text 911. Exactly. Yeah, you know, something ain't right. Something ain't right. I think that girl might have been hate up or something and thought that if she called law enforcement, then they would, you know, she'd get thrown out of college or whatever for, you know, being hate up, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that is the case. I'm saying something don't sound right. You know, it's, you know, something just don't sound freaking right about all of that. You know, I don't know. You know, maybe it'll come out in the wash. Maybe, you know, after Brian sits in prison for a while, you know, and ain't getting no letters and ain't getting what he suspects to be getting, maybe some truth, some light will be shed, you know, about what really went down, you know, why this particular person wasn't calling no 911, right? You guys know how it is. You know how it is. You see a lot of people protecting a second party, and then after they're in prison for a while, they give the second party up, right? They decide to call the authorities in and give the second party away. And there might be a second party to all of this, right? There may be. Because did you guys hear about the Poppy, the dude named Poppy something that was on, you know, that was TikTok and stuff, or that was, you know, in the chat, was in the chats. Do you know what I'm talking about? Put a 1 in the if you know what I'm talking about. But they said they believe it was Brian. That was this Poppy guy. And anyway, he was giving out information, and he even asked, do you think he took a shower before he left? You know, that's the creepy stuff he was saying. And he was mentioning stuff that nobody knew but law enforcement and stuff like that. So that's why they believe that it was him, you know, chatting with them. So where would he have took a shower? Right? Where would he have took a shower? You know, we got to think about that, right? We got to think about that. And it's hard for me to believe that somebody could go in there, take out 4 people in the manner that he did. I mean, it's, you know, he just had one weapon, and he takes down 4 people. That's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that he was working alone, right? That he was just him doing it. That's really hard to believe. Just saying, you know, I think there's more to it. I think there's more to it than we know, and we might find out later, you know. In my opinion, that's my opinion. All right, you guys, I'm going to say good night. God bless. Much love. Be good.